Well, my chair, let me start by appreciating my chairman, Chief Mrs. Omokemi Oladipo, because Lagelu is my district, and I want to also thank the chairman, technical committee. He actually conscripted me for this assignment. I won't say that he invited me, he conscripted me. He commanded me to do it because I gave a number of excuses, but he refused to heed to that excuse. And Temitayo also was part of the coup. So I want to also mention Mr. Ezekiel Adeji, my very good brother and my colleague, the former colleague, who is a member of the Governing Council and the convener of the Lagelu district. And I want to say warm greetings from Malta, the small island in Europe, surrounded by Mediterranean Sea. And the weather is extremely cold now. But there's no breeze today. And I believe that we'll have a good session. Please permit me to stand on the existing protocol, especially since this is an online session. I may not have the privilege of knowing distinguished colleagues that are on the platform. So I want to also appreciate all the distinguished colleagues who are on the platform to listen to this conversation. I call it a conversation because from the topic, from number crunching to corporate leadership, strategy roles of the accountant in the digital age, that's the really current conversation at the moment, because the buzzword in the accounting lexicon now is future-ready accountant. We are going to talk a lot about it. But before we dive into the nitty-gritty of the conversation, let us frame it properly so that we can go from there. You know, and I start by quoting Peter Drucker, which we all know, that the greatest danger in times of turbulence is to act with yesterday's logic. And you know that by virtue of our profession, we do a lot about yesterday's logic because we work a lot on historical records. We can quote some standards from 1973 without blinking, from SAS to IAS to FIRS. But the world is changing. All these are very important, very essential. We cannot take away from it. And but for decades, accountants have been seen as technician, as a keeper of vouchers, guardian of vouchers, defender of trial balances, and accountant is a person that if he calls you that we need to talk about something, you begin to get panic that maybe something has happened. All these responsibilities remain very essential, but they are no longer enough. The reason is that the world of business is changing very rapidly. Technology is reshaping accounting very rapidly. An organization expects more than just compliance. They want us to be able to talk to figures that we are presenting. And accountants, we have to evolve from just accountants to strategic leaders. And along the line, I'm going to share a number of my experiences with you. Let me just start by telling you about my involvement in the Ilaji group. I was engaged to just do a kind of accounting and a bit of audit job. But from my preliminary review of the operations of the company, or the books, I discovered that there was a need for them to do a kind of a thorough health check of the company. So I told the owner that I wanted to do something else apart from just reviewing the accounts, and I wanted to do something else, and I called it strategic and operational review. And he told me, well, jokingly, that no, you have come again, you accountants, I'm not going to pay for that. And that was the first time I was meeting the man. He said, I'm not going to pay for it, because once you do what I ask you to do, that's okay. I said, okay, don't worry. I'll do it as pro bono for you, because I know you need it. So eventually, I did the strategic and operational review, came with some reports. Initially, I just had 8 slides, beautifully prepared slides. So he called me on a Saturday to share my preliminary review with him. I shared with him, and he just asked me, he was smiling all along, and he asked me, okay, can you give me your account details? And before I knew it, I had what I would call at that time alarm. That was how it started, because I looked beyond the figures and was able to present what he needed at that time. And that was the beginning of the relationship. And he asked me to come and do the same presentation to the management of the company, which I did. And it was part of my recommendation was that they needed someone like a chief operating officer who has multidisciplinary experiences, who can double as head of operation, the accountant, and all that at the initial stage. So at the end of the presentation, he asked that, look, you don't need to engage someone for us. Why don't you, because with all this, it's like you have all the qualifications you even stated here. Can you start? I said, the issue is that, I'm a consultant and I have a lot of clients at this moment. It's just because of COVID-19 that I couldn't travel, that I might not be able to do it. He said, whichever way you want to do it, just go ahead and do it. So that was the beginning of the relationship, and today it's a completely different ball game. It's gone beyond just being just an employee. It has become something like a partnership. And just recently, we acquired a company in Spain, and my chairman became the president of the company, where he, of course, chose me to be the vice president of that company in Spain. So that's, if I had just gone there, because the lesson there is that if I had just gone there to just do accounting and audit and left, the kind of opportunities that came afterwards wouldn't have been there today. So it's instructive for us to know that accounting has to go beyond crunching numbers. We have to translate, we have to tell the stories with the numbers so that it's, especially in the dispensation that we are going in the digital age, it has to go beyond numbers. Numbers are very important, but our responsibility is far more than just being custodian of records, keeper of ledgers, compliance officer, and the back office function. So now let's look at, why the old model can no longer work. The old model, which I've just enumerated, because automation has come in now. Technology has entered our charts. Automation has joined, and artificial intelligence is doing amazing things now. Recently, I had to go to a place in Czech Republic, and we wanted to do a kind of due diligence on a company in the Czech Republic, and we tried to engage an accountant who is there to do the due diligence because of the language and all that. So, and the guy wanted to charge 40,000 euros. We felt that, what is it that this guy wants to do with 40,000 euros? So eventually I opted to do it myself. And what gave me the boldness was that I just stumbled on a particular AI that could, translate all their financials. So what I just told them, okay, let's create a virtual data room and populate the data room with all the documents. And they populated the data room with all the financial documents and all the requested documents. And I started using this AI tool. I was able to convert virtually all the documents to English. So that was how I took over the responsibility, and we were able to save, I'm sure we will have saved a minimum of 30,000 because of my expenses over there wasn't even up to 10,000. So AI is doing a wonderful thing now. Cloud computing is making it very easy for us to host our data in the cloud, and robotic process automation is handling all the repetitive work that we do. You can handle it with speed and accuracy. So there is no point for us to keep doing that at this moment. And also the analytics is there. Is the money that we move from reporting numbers to explaining what they mean. In fact, analytics can do it even more accurately than we do. And another issue is that the business cycle is now has become so fast. The monthly reporting that we do may not be enough. There are some companies that I have to look at on a daily basis. So all I need to do is to look at the dashboard. The dashboard will give me all the statistics I need, and you can imagine if I have to rely on one accounting officer to give me the information. Because once you key in all the relevant transactions, it reports, and you get everything on the dashboard. So on a daily basis, you can take some decisions. So I don't have to wait for the monthly management account to take some vital decisions about the various companies. So all these forces, they are not threats. They are signals to us that the time has changed. And it means that the accountant of yesterday may not be able to meet the demands of today. And this is why the old model can no longer work. And that is why there must be the evolution that needs to take place for us as accountants now is, it's not optional. It's very imperative. And so what are the new expectations? The new expectation for us now is to be able to interpret numbers. We have to be very proficient in interpreting numbers now. And we have to be able to shape strategy, because that's what is beneficial to the organizations of today. We have to challenge some assumptions. And of course, we have to lead government and risk. We are going to talk a little bit in detail about some of these things. Now, the accountant as a leader, what do we expect to be now? We are supposed to be strategic partner. We are expected to be governance influential. We are supposed to be risk steward and ethical leader. And that's the role of accountants of today. But before we go into all that, because we are going to talk a lot about governance, we are going to talk about risk, and we are going to talk about future-ready accountants. But let's look at the evolution of accountant's role. In the pre-digital age, accountant role will have very slow progression. What has changed is the speed, the expectation, and the skills required this day, because the program is still virtually the same. You move from technician to an advisor and to leader. You have to start from the base anyhow. But the progression now is very fast compared to what it used to be, and it will become faster as we move along. You can become an accounts officer today if you demonstrate competence. You can easily become an advisor. You can become a leader. We have seen quite a number of even today's accountants who started maybe about 2-3 years, and within the space of 2-3 years, they've moved up the ladder in an organization, because it's just been demonstrating competence and ability to handle what the organization requires. So the pre-digital age, there is slow progression, but in the digital age now, there is accelerated progression. And manual work has given way to automated routine tasks. And of course, in the pre-digital age, they look at how long you have spent on a particular position before you can benefit from any form of advancement. But it's changing now. It's changing very rapidly. It's about your skill. It's skill that you can demonstrate in this digital age. You can't leave someone if someone has spent 10 years in the organization as a chartered accountant, You cannot operate the Excel or other basic tools, digital tools. Then you won't be relevant. So if you have someone who's just coming in and has a better understanding of all these things, then based on his skill, it will move up the ladder, especially in the corporate organizations. Then in the pre-digital age, there was limited strategic input of an accountant, but now accountants are almost everywhere. They are managing directors in organizations. They are, championing the changes everywhere. So they need they need our strategic input in everything that is happening within the organization now, because the privilege we have is that when we talk with figures, and figures appeal to people than appeal to organizations than even just mere rhetorics. For instance, I've been in several organizations that the marketing guys will come to me that, oh, we have this new product, we have this new service. And I simply ask them, let's have the business case. And by the time they look at the business case, we look at the numbers, I talk to them about the numbers, they discover that, oh, sir, I don't think this thing will make sense at this time. So I'll tell them, okay, let's do this here and there, and we can change the numbers. That's when it will open the understanding that, okay, we can do it. But they come to you with so much excitement, but by the time you look at the figures, you discover that it doesn't really make any sense. So they need our strategic input at every level, whether at every level, whether it's marketing, whether it's operation. So that's why the accountant of the day has to be in the digital age, has to be alive with his responsibilities. So invariably, the career ladder has not changed, but what has changed is the client. In the past, it will take decades to move from technician to advanced, but today, technology has accelerated the journey. So that is why if you an accountant and you master digital tools very well and strategic thinking, there's a tendency for you to rise faster and influence earlier and lead more decisively. The stages are the same, but the expectation at each stage are completely different now. So, and the big shifts, like I've mentioned, is speed of progression, expectations at each stage, and the skills required to advance. So what are we expected to become as accountants of today, of tomorrow, and the future? We are supposed to be strategic advisor. We are supposed to be risk manager. We are supposed to be digital thinker. We are supposed to be governance influencer. We are supposed to be ethical leader, and of course, business partner. I have a few, maybe just 1, 2 examples of accountants who change the conversation. There's an accountant I'm sure this example will resonate with quite a number of us on this platform or people we know. Like a mid-sized Nigerian manufacturing company once faced a serious challenge Sales were dropping, costs were rising, and the board was preparing for a painful round of layoffs. They felt that the next thing, in some organization, the next thing when the figures are not tying together is to just lay off some staff. So everyone assumed that the accountant role was simply to prepare the numbers for the meeting. But the company's young financial manager and accountant did something different. Instead of just presenting the figures, she analyzed the customer behavior, production inefficiencies, and market trends. And she discovered that the real problem wasn't really cost. It was just supply chain bottleneck that was caused by a single unreliable distributor. So she didn't stop there. She mapped the risk, proposed a new distribution model, and even works with, I think I'm hearing echo.
Please proceed, sir.
Okay. She mapped the risk, proposed a new distribution model, and even worked with the operations to redesign the logistic process. And within 6 months, sales recovered, cost stabilized, and the company avoided layoff entirely. So at the next board meeting, the chairman of the board said, "Oh, we have someone, you didn't even just give us numbers, but you give us direction." This is an accountant in our organization that gave the organization clear direction because of diligence, because of being digital minded. And of course, she was rewarded, and she became an executive leadership team member, and he has a permanent seat on the strategy table. That's, how we can easily change the conversation. So we should look beyond just being a corner, prepare financial statement, and stop there. We should be interested in everything within the organization, especially it will make, if we make use of digital tools, it will make things much easier for us. And I don't want to bore you with another example, but you can look at it later. This is a real life example of Microsoft, and there's someone that caused a great turnaround in the market. It's something you can Google, and you'll find, can read through it. So what leadership evolution demands now is new skills, new mindsets, and new responsibilities. We need this. This is very important. And when we are talking of new skills, we are talking of digital and data literacy. We need to read a lot about strategic thinking and also put into practice. We need to know about risk, about governance, capability, of course, communication and leadership skills. So what it means that our new skills should go beyond debit and credit. We should take interest in understanding what is going on digitally, and we should be data literate at all times. We should think strategically, not just when we put figures together. We should tell stories with the figures. And of course, we should know about governance, because if you don't know about governance, that's why we're going to talk about corporate governance. You will not be able to operate well within the board when you have the opportunity. Then communication and leadership. Then we should have completely new mindsets. Before looking in our approach to issues, we will think of solutions, not just problems. And digital should always come to our mind. We should look at how to improve process through, digital tools. When we see something that is repetitive, it always means that there is a better way to do it. It means that you can make use of digital tools to do it faster, especially if it's repetitive. Then we should, of course, ethics is part and parcel of our profession, and should be courageous to come up with, suggested solutions to issues. Our orientation should be more of problem solving, and we should look at our businesses. In fact, that's what we call ownership mentality, and this is what I've always talked about in all our organizations, that every person in the organization should have a sense of ownership. You look at yourself as if you are the owner of that company, so that when there are issues, you are thinking of solutions at all times. And of course, we should have the mindset of growth and adaptability. So we want to, whichever organization, even if you are at a junior level in the organization, you'll be thinking of growth of the organization, and that will, create a new mindset in you to see that things are done properly. And of course, we now have new responsibilities in the digital age, strategic advisory. We should strengthen governance, because governance is very critical, as you will see it, and we should be risk intelligent, and we should give digital transformation support at all times. Ethical, we should be stewards of ethics, and we should have cross-functional collaboration. That's what I've said, that you don't just limit your understanding of the operation to just be an accountant in a cubicle. You should know exactly what is going on in all the functional areas of the organization. And in fact, I want to mention here what I did during my engagement in Ilaji. After my assessment of the company, I discovered that this place has great revenue potentials, but I checked the revenue assurance, I checked everything. So I discovered that there are quite a number of things that need to be done. I classify them into something that we need to do immediately, something that we'll do later. But some of the things we did immediately was to tighten the operations with the internal controls. Then in fact, I discovered one thing, that stockout is responsible for the revenue leakage, because most time when there is stockout, it means that people come and they will not be able to see anything to buy, and of course it discourages people and it reduces the revenues that will come in. So all those major areas, immediately they were fixed, the revenue increased. In fact, the first month, my first month in Ilaji, revenue increased by almost 300%. Just fixing a few things. And of course, in the medium term, I knew that you have to introduce digital tools within the organization, which completely changed, the story. Was we had to introduce put systems in place that you don't even have to touch anything from reception to everywhere. Once you key everything, everything is integrated together. So in the medium time, we did that, and it became a success story. So, and the marketing also, of course, I have to, call the marketing. What are you doing on a daily basis? We have to design our marketing plan because there was nothing on ground then. We had to design the marketing plan that we monitored on a daily basis. And we introduced some digital tools that will make it very easy for them to even write their report. So all these fundamentals are quite important. Now, we need to move to corporate governance fundamentals. Having explored the evolution of our profession, one of the most important responsibilities for us in this digital age is corporate governance. Corporate governance is the framework that determines how an organization is directed, controlled, and held accountable. And is a kind of system that ensures that power is exercised responsibly, decisions are made transparently, and resources are used ethically. I'm sure some of us who are students of corporate governance will remember a number of companies that form the bedrock of corporate governance, like Cadbury, like Enron, Wirecard. Those are we're going to look a little bit about the exam, but like I said, corporate governance ensures accountability, transparency, fairness, responsibility, and it protects shareholders and builds trust. So the 4 pillars of corporate governance, of course, are accountability, transparency, and fairness. We are going to talk a bit about it again later. And the accountants is always at the center of corporate governance in terms of financial reporting, internal controls, board oversight, ethics, compliance, and identification. So, and what's going to be our role in that? We ensure the integrity of financial reporting. And part of what that will help us to report more accurately is making use of digital tools. And it will also, digital tools now help even to strengthen internal controls. It helps us to support the board oversight and to promote ethical conduct, ensure regulatory compliance, and also identify governance risks. So, in the digital age, it's a different ball game, because we are now talking about data governance, cyber governance, environmental, social governance, and technology-driven governance, because all these are coming now. And in the data governance, what does it really mean? That is a system of rules, processes, and controls that ensure data is accurate, secure, consistent, accessible, and used ethically. And you know that most of the reports that we generate now come from data. So the data that through which those reports are generated has to be properly governed. They must be reliable, must be accurate, and must be ethical. Otherwise, whatever reports we produce from that will be full of errors and be completely unreliable. So, and what we must do is that we ensure that the data used in reporting is accurate and reliable, and we should understand the data flows across the systems. Even now, it's a responsibility if we do go for an audit, and the systems, they have the matrix of digital tools in the place that they have applications they use. We should first and foremost ensure that the data being used is accurate and reliable. Otherwise, the reporting will be defective. And we should also not just asking them to print out statement for us. We should understand the data flow across the systems. How did the data flow? Then we must also be able to support, make sure that data complies with all the privacy laws, because that can cause a lot of issues for the organization. And we should also ensure that we promote the ethical use of the data and the analytics, and of course, AI. So in summary, data governance will ensure that the numbers we rely on are trustworthy, they are secure, and they are ethically managed. And of course, cyber governance is also very important, because it's hardly avoidable in this new dispensation. So that's why there must be an oversight over cyber security, so that we ensure that the systems, the networks, and the digital assets are all protected from attacks. Whether you like it or not, the attacks will come. And we know the implication of allowing attacks to go on for too long a time, because cyber attacks can shut down the operation, it can steal financial data, it can even manipulate records, and if it manipulates records, it can destroy the trust, which is very important. So a cyber breach looks like an IT issue, but it's also a governance failure, because the accountants have the responsibility to ensure that to first and foremost understand the risks that affects the risks associated with cyber attack in financial reporting, and the accountant must ensure that internal controls are built around, cyber security. And of course, you should support board on cyber resilience and evaluate cyber incidents as part of risk assessment. That's very important. And we are very much familiar with environmental and social governance data. Hello?
We are with you, sir.
Hello. Okay. You know, environmental and social governance is also key now in the digital age. You know, ESG has become a worldwide issue, you know, because of the issue of sustainability. The investors, especially from all across the world, investors, regulators, global markets, they demand ESG disclosures, and we have IFRS that deals with that. So sustainability reporting has become as important even as financial reporting now. So, and it means that in the digital age, we have to validate the ESG data with the same rigor that we use in validating financial data. We have to do the same. And also we also support sustainability reporting frameworks and ensure transparency in carbon emission, though I know it's a difficult thing here, but that's part of what we need to get familiar with in the future as future-ready accountants. Ensure transparency in carbon emissions, social impact, and governance practices. And we should also help the board to integrate ESG into strategy and risk management. In a nutshell, ESG governance ensures that we create value responsibly, and of course, accountants are central to sustainability reporting. In fact, is a requirement for us now as accountants. Then the other one is technology-driven governance. So, and when we talk about it, we refer essentially to the use of oversight in the use of digital tools like AI, automation, analytics, dashboard, so that we can, because all these things, yes, we make use of them now to govern the organization on a daily basis. But if there is no protection over the data that we use for all this, and if there is a manipulation of the data or the data is corrupted, of course, what we'll be getting on the dashboard will be completely wrong. I'll be taking decision based on what is wrong. And the truth is that AI is good, but AI also make mistakes. It depends on what they bring out. So we don't have automation that is completely foolproof. So that is why it's very important for us to make sure that we have good oversight over all this use of digital tools. And that has become part of corporate governance in the digital age. And there are layers of regulatory, there are Nigerian government frameworks and regulatory expectations. There are national governance codes. We have CAMA, we have Nigeria Code of Corporate Governance, we have SEC Code, we have financial reporting standards, of course, IFRS and tax. We have industry-specific regulation, CBN, NICOM, NCC, and all that. And of course, the ones that I've mentioned now, digital age regulation. So those are the layers. And governance failures, the well-reported ones, we've learned a lot of lessons. That's the Enron. I'm sure there is no one on the platform that has not heard of the case of Enron, because it's been so many years ago. Enron's scandal was in 2001. After hiding billions in debt through fraudulent accounting techniques such as mark-to-market accounting, and it led to bankruptcy. In fact, it led to the winding up of our well-respected Otto at that time, and that's the scandal triggered major reforms like Sarbanes-Oxley Act, which we all know as accountants. So it's a classic case of some governance issues completely ignored, and the warnings were just merely buried under corporate ambition. Then we have also Wirecard scandal in Germany, which happened in 2020. It was well reported. And we have the case study of Cadbury Nigeria. Of course, that one was a bit unfortunate because one of us was involved. In fact, the fraud was masterminded by the finance director, who was a general accountant. And there have been other notable corporate failures with our banks, all those old bank, Oceanic Bank, Interpreter Bank, and all that. But by and large, what the corporates, what did they teach us is that fraud is really a technical failure, it is a governance failure. That's why in the digital age, as accountants of today, we should pay serious attention to governance issues. And we should remember the foundation of that. And because most of the failure is as a result of governance failure. Then accountants are on the first line of defense, because when there are failure of governance, the accountants are often the first line of defense. You have to explain what happened, how it happened, and the level of it. Why didn't you see this? Why? So that's why we should make sure that the issue of corporate governance is taken very seriously. And when we fail, of course, organization collapse, because everything still revolves around us. We are the custodians of figures, and we are supposed to be seeing what others are not seeing within the organization. So, and we have no choice. Our ethical leadership must be very important, even than our technical expertise. So we must have built within the organization strong governance that protects reputation, value, and society. You know, governance demands a lot of ethical courage, not just competence. It demands that we speak truth to power, even when it is uncomfortable. It demands that we protect the organization reputation, even when where there are others chasing short-term gains. Because in any organization, you see some people, they will chase, even some accountants, they will chase short-term gains. So, and we must always protect the organization reputation. We should, make sure that we build organizational governance to a level that it will be difficult for the organization to fail. Because in the digital age, the greatest test of leadership is not just governance, it's also risk. Because risk is faster, is more complex, is more digital, and more interconnected than ever before. So the accountants of the day and the future were expected to be the organization's risk strategists, not just a financial reporter reporting financial statements on a monthly basis. So we should also be risk strategists. So as we leave the governance behind, now we're going to step into the next level of experience that we need to have. That's a risk strategy in the digital age. Because as accountant, we should become the navigator. We have the opportunity of even having the early warning signals. We should be strategic advisor who will help our organization to survive and to thrive. So risk strategy in the digital area. So like I said, risk, the new risk landscape is very fast, is more complex, is more interconnected, it's more digital. In the past, we review our risk maybe periodically, maybe quarterly or annually, when something is wrong. But today, risk is extremely, extremely dynamic. It evolves with time because, it's a digital age. It crosses borders, systems, and industries. It doesn't wait for a board meeting. That's why at the accountants of today, when you look at figures, if you are seeing some risk, quickly point it out before it becomes a big issue, so that it can be tackled before we start losing revenue, before the even organization becomes moribund. So the digital age has introduced new categories of risk. So that's why the risk in the digital is more complex, like cyber risks. We've talked a lot about cyber risks. There is a data privacy risk, there is a reputational risk, ESG sustainability risks, third-party risks, technology and automation risks, AI and algorithmic risks, regulatory risks, financial volatility risks, operational disruption risks. All these risks, they are not isolated. They are all interconnected, because a cyber breach can become a reputational breach. Can become a reputational crisis for a company. If there is a data failure, it can become a regulatory penalty. And if there is a sustainability lapse, it can become an investor revolt. So it means that as accountants in the digital age, we must evolve from being a risk reporter to being a risk strategy in the real sense of it. And in other words, we should be a risk navigator. And it's very important for us as accountants to understand the business model, because that's the only way we can become risk navigator. We must understand beyond numbers. We must understand the business model, the controls, the vulnerabilities of that business. And with that, we'll be able to see the early warning signs before anyone else. We must understand the patterns, the anomalies, the trends, and this will make us to be uniquely positioned to guide the risk strategy of our organization. And we should also be risk interpreter. In the digital age, risk, a lot of, digital tools makes things faster for us, but a lot of risk is embedded there. A lot of risk is embedded in the system, the data, and the technology. So that's why we must understand data flows. How do this data flow? So we should not just print out whatever is being reported. We should understand the data flows. We should know the controls there. We should have, an idea of, we don't have to be IT experts, but we should know how the automation we are talking about, how does it work? What are the cyber threats that can impact financial integrity? What are the ESG risks that can affect long-term value of the company? So it's also important for us to be strategic advisors, strategic advisor, because the boss now expect us to identify from time to time emerging risks, and not just identify those risks. We should be able to quantify them to know what the kind of risk exposure of the organization, and evaluate the risk properly, and also not just evaluate them, but recommend what are the mitigation strategies. And we should also, help the organization with scenario planning, meaning that what happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? And quantify even the financial implication of what happens. So it will make the management to take it seriously and make sure that they quickly find remedial actions. So, like I said, it's very important to understand the digital flow, how data flow into the system, and the controls behind the reporting, the reports we get, how does the system generate the report, and the decisions, and of course the outcomes. So, like I've said, the accountant as a risk navigator, we should first assess, understand the business model. It's very important for us to understand the business model of whichever company we belong to, and monitor the system, monitor the business to see early warning signs, interpret the patterns and the anomalies. Then that can assist us to guide in decision making. And as risk interpreter, we should understand the data flows, evaluate the system, assess the impact, and connect the digital risk to financial integrity. And also, as a strategic advisor, we should identify the emerging risk, quantify the exposure, evaluate the risk appetite, support scenario planning, and provide real insights, real-time insights. That's very important for us as accountants. But the most important thing is to be able to build the organizational resilience. Building the resilience means that we fortify the organization in such a way that, when even issues come, issue of risk comes, it will not be a big challenge to the organization if we prepare well. And the first thing is that we should anticipate. We should have resilience, start from foresight. We should do regularly environmental scanning, not just copy the data, but analyze the data and identify the potential risks before they even happen. So if we anticipate it, before they become a problem, we'll be able to find a way around it. Then we should also prepare. Prepare what could happen when we put structures in place to reduce the impact. For instance, if we know that there are going to be issues, for instance, with the possibility of if an attack happens, what are we supposed to do if there is a potential cyber threat? So we must prepare ahead of it. For instance, part of preparation may be like building cash reserves for us, and part of it may be strengthening our internal control, and of course, part of it may be investing in digital backups, so that when there's an attack on a particular very sensitive part of our digital tool, we can easily make use of the backup that we have to ensure that the things continue to go. Because if there is a cyber attack and it takes a long time, especially for organizations that are so big, it leads, even smaller organizations, it leads to revenue loss and, of course, reputational damage to the company, because the customers, the stakeholders begin to have crisis of confidence in the company. So we can invest in digital backups. Then we can create contingency budgets, and we can have some teams that can, respond quickly when such crises come. And also, we must be able to respond. So, and when disruption occurs, it means that we should respond quickly and effectively to protect the organization. And part of it is to, have a kind of business continuity plan, so that, okay, when disruption occurs, there must be a way to continue without even people knowing that there was a disruption. And it shouldn't take a long time. And you can imagine if a company like maybe First Bank, GT, has a disruption that lasts for 1 week, and they are unable to service their customer for 1 week, then that's going to be a big problem. So there must be a business. It means the reason why it's not happening that way is because they have put some safeguards in place. They have put some resilience program in place. So, and we can also respond by directing our cash flow into critical operations, and also, very importantly, communicating clearly with the shareholders and adjusting operation to maintain service delivery. So this shows that as accountants, we should be the stabilizing force during crisis. Some of this looks like they look like IT issue, but they are not in the real sense of it. As accountants, we should be the stabilizing force in the organization, building, this resilience and participating actively in ensuring that we build organizational resilience. And of course, recovery is very important. After the shock, there is a need for us to restore to stability. So we need to start rebuilding financial positions, reevaluating our budgets and our priorities, supporting our teams to return to normal operation, and if it's in a company that has supply chains, reestablishing those chains and the digital systems. So, and as accountants, we should be, we should be playing active role in guiding the organization back to strength, so that the continuity will be there. And of course, very importantly, we should learn, and that's the last part of it. We should learn from it. We should learn from every disruption so that the organization can become stronger for the next one. So, and we do that, review in the course of resolving the issue, what worked, what didn't work, what failed, and we update the risk registers and the controls, and of course improve our digital safeguards. And the scenario plans is always very important, and of course it will affect our financial models. So for us to build a resilient organization, all these are very important. We must anticipate, we must prepare, we must respond, recover, and learn. And resilience we are talking about is not just one-time action. It's a continuous cycle. It's continuing to go on. So even before the risk occurs, we should always anticipate. We should just, it's wrong to assume that everything can just go on without any problem. It's not normal. So there are bound to be issues, but it's very important to always anticipate, to prepare, to respond, to recover, and to learn. And so the accountant is always the bridge between governance, risk, and strategy. So we are the intersection between all these, and we must always, governance is required as we comply with regulation risks, requires that we know that non-compliance could cause us penalties or reputational damage, and strategy. We want to expand into new market, but we have to connect all these dots together by assessing the risk and advising appropriately. And also, integrity is very important, insight and influence. So and controls, decisions, and resilience are very important. Then the future-ready accountants. And I'm very happy that our elder in the profession, AJ Silicon, will also be touching about this. In the digital age, the evolution accountant should be from being a reporter to advisor to strategist and to digital age leader. And this is the portrait of these accountants in the future-ready, in the digital, the portrait of a future-ready accountant in the digital age. We must be digitally fluent. We must have strategic insight. We must demonstrate, ethical leadership at all times. We should be risk intelligent, very important, and we should be able to communicate effectively. We should have business acumen. We should be able to adapt to changes and continuously learn. We should have influence and we should demonstrate that we are influential and we have leadership qualities. So these are very important in the digital age. And in terms of digital fluency, we must be digital literate. We must know about analytics and dashboard, automation, and AI awareness systems. We should have understanding of the system. And when we talk about automation AI, you discover that even what we are using now is it's called weak AI, the ChatGPT and all that we are using. There are more advanced versions of AI that is coming up, and we should be well prepared for it, because there is going to be super intelligent AI that can even reason more than human beings. So these are in the front burner, and they are coming to revolutionize the way we do things. We should have good understanding of systems. So accountant cannot just sit somewhere now and not be aware of what is going on in the digital world, no matter how old we are and no matter how young we are. So, and we should also have strategic insight, scenario planning from time to time. To have scenario planning, the decision support. We should create value, and we should also demonstrate ethical leadership in terms of data ethics, transparency. We are not going to be, it's not important for us to be IT expert, but we should be aware of it. So we should have fair understanding of AI and the integrity of data decisions. And of course, in risk intelligence, I keep on mentioning early warning system is very important. We must have early warning system, connected risk awareness. We should have digital, we should be able to interpret digital risk very well. And like we have said, we should have that resilience mindset. And communication is very important, because we should know how to tell stories with our numbers. We should have executive presence at all times. We should know how to influence. We should, go through some leadership skills. They are soft skills from time to time, so that we just don't immerse ourselves with figures alone. We learn about leadership skills, emotional intelligence, and all that. And we should have a kind of persuasive skills, though we are not in the marketing, but we should have persuasive skills. And even under pressure, we should show leadership. We should be clear and be focused. And we should have business acumen. We should understand the business model that our organizations are running, a very clear understanding of the markets, the customer, the strategy. So we should adapt and continuously learn. We should learn fast. Maybe there are some things we need to unlearn. We should unlearn them very quickly. And whatever we need to adapt to, we adapt speedily. And we should demonstrate confidence, strategic visibility, courage, and influence. It's very important. I had an experience. I wanted to do something at the corporate affairs, and it was dragging for so long. And I told my colleagues there that, I have a director who is the wife of my very close friend. So immediately I called her, and she did what she needed to do, and everything was done so promptly. And the other time we had issues with our payment platform, which we use for our gaming company, that's Flutterwaves. And I told them here that, the chairman of Flutterwave is my very close friend. We were schoolmates and all that. I called him, and the problem was fixed. In fact, immediately said, Prince knows everybody in Nigeria, everybody that matters in Nigeria. And that gives you, a kind of influence within the organization. So we must, use our influence, to help the organization. Well, dear colleagues, I've come to the end of this journey together, and I want to say that the future will not wait for anyone. It will not slow down for our comfort, as we have highlighted very clearly in our conversation today. Risk governance is already changing, risk is evolving, technology is accelerating, and ethical expectations are rising for us as accountants, and the world is demanding more from us, more than ever before. And but the good news is that there is no profession better position for the future than we accountants. The greatest advantage we have is that we understand numbers, and we can tell stories with numbers, and we can transform with numbers. We can change the dynamics with our good interpretation of numbers, and we can, direct the organization through interpretation of our numbers. So we understand value, we understand risk, we understand systems, we understand people, and we also understand the cost of getting this wrong. So the accountant of tomorrow is certainly not going to be just an honorary bookkeeper. He's not going to be just a compliance officer, or a silent observer. The accountant of tomorrow is definitely going to be a strategist, a navigator, a risk interpreter, a digital thinker, a guardian of ethics, a leader of influence, a builder of resilience in an organization, and of course, the one we are well known for, the accountant of tomorrow is going to be a custodian of trust. So the world is definitely entering into a new era, and that era is defined by data, by technology, by uncertainty. But we know that this uncertainty is not our enemy, it's our opportunity to evolve. And it's an era of change. What will matter for us as accountants is to combine competence with courage, with insight, with integrity, with knowledge, with leadership. So as future-ready accountant is who we must become, because that's what the future demands for us now. And that's what our organizations need. That's what we're capable of being. So I believe that though we had to rush through all this, but I believe it's what the presentation can form the basis of further presentations in the future. We can take one of them, one after the other, governance, amplifying risk, and amplifying strategy, so that with clarity, with conviction, we can happen to the future. I used to have my former in Udua, he will tell you that don't allow future to happen to you, but it should happen to the future. So as accountants, we should not allow future to happen to us. We happen to the future. And the future is something that we should build one decision, one insight, one act of courage at a time. And as accountants, I believe we are ready for that future. And we are essential to that future. And I believe the future is already ours. If we take heed to some of these things, and we are digitally ready. So thank you very much for this small presentation.
Wow. I don't know where to start. I'm lost for words as to the superlatives to use for what has just happened, sir. It felt like I was in a theater and I was watching a masterpiece unfold right in my presence. We say a big thank you, sir, for this masterclass that you have just delivered. At some point, I felt. Hello, please confirm that you can hear me.
I hear you now, but you lost.
Yes. A call interrupted my network. As I was saying, that it felt at some point that this should have been a paid session. I'm sure if we advertise this as a paid session and we charge money for it, we would have made quite a fortune from it. But nevertheless, Lagelu and this society, we are there for each other. We are there for every professional. And we are grateful that the idea that the technical committee has been brought into fruition today by our Prince Adesina Araoye, the master strategist. We thank you so much, Stan, for taking time to to take us through what we need to do to transform from a number cruncher into a strategic leader. We say a big thank you once again, sir. Professional colleagues, I don't know how many of us have one or the other we may want to ask, or be it remarks or contributions. Kindly signify by raising your hand and we'll go through one by one. While the presentation was going on, we had some eminent dignitaries on the call and would like to recognize their presence. Of course, we had my boss, once again, our elder, Mr. Olabisi Fayombo, the principal partner of Olabisi Fayombo and Co. Chartered Accountants, a firm where Mr. Prince Adesina Araoye also doubles as a partner. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. We are grateful for your presence this evening. In the same vein, we had an elder of Lagelu and District Society, Lucas Omoshebi, joining us. He's the managing partner of Lucas Omoshebi and Co. Thank you so much, sir, for taking time out this evening to join us. We have the immediate past chairman of Mowe and District Society, Olubenga Sholarin. Thank you so much for joining us. We had some distinguished personalities from our sister districts within Ibadan. We have Mr. Fagbola Temisokwe, the Social Secretary, Mrs. Tolu Olatoyon, the EXCO. From Ibadan District Society, we had Mr. Sunday Ademola joining us, and of course, the Swan Rep at Oliole and District Society, Mrs. Mojisola Adewoyin. Thank you so much for joining us. I would like to pick it from the rear, where Prince Adesina Araoye, where the penultimate screen before I rounded up, where I talk about accountants, the future-ready accountants must have leadership presence. Leadership presence. You know, we often talk about networking and gathering influence. Oh, you should join a district society so that you can network. You should attend this conference, attend this, attend that. Well, everything now culminates into what the future is demanding. The future of the accountants must exude confidence. There must be courage, strategic visibility, and influence. Your influence will come to bear when the organization where you're a leader needs one or two things in order to scale others. He was citing an example where he had some things to settle at CSA and 2 calls, created, just resolve the problem without going further. Sincerely, this has been an expose, and it couldn't have come at a better time when the Western Zonal accountants are gathering this week for their conference in Lagos. Once again, Prince Adesina Araoye, we are grateful for the justice you have just done to this presentation. I'm also being told that we have a distinguished personality from Ota and District Society. That's the past chairman, Pastor Fela Shokenu. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrongly. We are so grateful for joining us this evening. Thank you, and thank you. Without further ado, we'd like to go through questions, remarks, and comments for as many who may want to lend their voice to this topic this evening. I'm not sure I can see any hands up. Does that mean it was self-explanatory and we need nothing else for clarification? Okay, I'm seeing a hand up. Mr. Adekunle Adebayo, kindly unmute your microphone and speak, sir.
Good evening, professional colleagues. Thank you very much for giving me the floor. And I want to say a big thank you to Prince Adesina Araoye. In fact, he did justice to that topic. Like I always tell people that accountant of today should not just be about bookkeeping, raising journal. We need to position ourselves into a strategic level within an organization and also at large in the society. Sir, please, can I ask you that for someone who has been an accountant for over 15 years and who is very vast in IT tools, what course can that person take on today to catapult the person to a strategic level? I know there are some courses that someone can enroll into, like instead of director, and I mean leadership courses that we can enroll ourselves into, so as to gain that leadership and governance experience. Thank you very much.
Also, Mr. Adekunle, thank you so much for that question. It has been noted. We'll run through the list. I can see the hand of Mr. Oladipupo Fagbile. Kindly unmute your microphone and speak, sir. Mr. Oladipupo Fagbile. If you are speaking, sir, we can't hear you. Okay. No further questions. Before I call on Prince Araoye to address the question raised by Mr. Adekunle Adebayo, permit me to recognize the presence of the 13th chairman of Abuja and District Society, the person of Mr. Adesina Araoye, FCA. We are grateful for your presence this evening. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Oladipupo Fagbile, can you try again to ask a question? Yes, I can see that your microphone is unmuted, but we can't hear a word you are saying. Sir. Okay, without wasting time, my boss, sir, please kindly do justice to the question raised by Mr. Adekunle Adebayo.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Adekunle Adebayo. Thanks for your comments. I do not take it for granted. I appreciate. As to what course one can enroll into, you see, I believe so much in self-learning, and today, I must be honest with you, things are quite easier for us than in those days. Because today, apart from the fact that there are a lot of advertised courses, I'll say that there are courses on hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills are the skills that are specific to your professional calling, and of course, IT skills. For the IT skills, essentially, you must, an accountant of today must first and foremost be well grounded in all the Microsoft applications completely. You'll be able to use Excel professionally well, efficiently, and also an area that I think many people don't pay particular attention to in our profession is the area of, as simple as it is, Microsoft Power presentation. Well, I've seen that in many places I've worked, that you bring something out, because communication is very important. Even after you have interpreted your figures, you can represent those figures in a kind of symbol, in a kind of graphics that will, tell the story to your organization without even explaining so much. For instance, I told you of my story. When we prepare account, it has a particular format. But when I presented my PowerPoint report to my chairman then, the everything was condensed into just 8 slides. And those 8 slides were pregnant with a lot of stories that even when you see it, you say, is this, So that's very important. Then you now go into the issue of AI and automation. It depends. You cannot train yourself on everything, but at least basic. For instance, I can tell you now that even at almost 65-year-old, I've enrolled into, I'm paying for some applications online. Despite my very tight schedule, I paid for, there is one I paid almost 40 euros every week just to learn certain things about AI, about automation. I don't want to become an IT guy, but I need to understand what is going on in my world digitally. So it's very important for us to invest in our, education. And apart from that, you can find out some advertised leadership training series like emotional intelligence. Accountants should also, if you see training on marketing, don't say it's just it's for marketers. No, try to understand the basics of it. There is a training on operation. Find out about what is in it. Strategic leadership. Find out about what is there, so that the accountant should because everything revolves around us. So that's why it's very important for us to learn almost everything that we can learn. In fact, I stumbled on a YouTube when Prince Oebade was talking to he was talking to, I think, the Swan people at a particular gathering, and he was emphasizing on the fact that you will need to read widely. And in fact, he told them in that video that he reads almost every day, and that should be. At any point in time, as an accountant, we should have something we are reading. We should have a book there are many good books that we can read, whether we're on the plane or we're anywhere. At least read something. Read about management, read about leadership on a daily basis. So we should, invest a lot on self-improvement. Is for ourselves, and nobody can take it away from us. And I believe that has helped me a lot in my career, and it can help anyone that decide to invest in it. I hope I've tried to answer that question.
Thank you very much, sir. We have 2 hands up. Mr. Adesina Araoye, quickly, can we have your remarks?
All right, thank you, moderator. My name is Adesina Araoye, 32944, the past chairman of ICANN Abuja and District Society. I just want to use the opportunity to appreciate the Lagelu and District Society. Honestly, like you rightly said, should be a paid program, a paid seminar, but you gave us to us free. Honestly, I've learned a lot. The man is a man. Our presenter today really gave us a top-notch lecture, which I believe we don't have any cause to fail in life. God helping us. With this information, we should not stop learning, because anyone that stops learning is dying gradually. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Kudos to you guys. Keep it up. Mercy will locate you. Let Labe continue. Bye.
Thank you so much for your kind words. We are grateful, sir. We have some words of commendation in the comment section. Okay, Mr. Kalala, it's on your hands up. I was about to read your comments, but now that you are raising your hands, kindly make a remark within 60 seconds, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I was forced to speak because of the last comment, which was corroborating what you said. I'm sorry. I want to please completely disagree that anytime something is presented and it makes sense, we think of money. Please don't let us think that way. I have had cause to argue this with the staff of the institute. Please, as many as possible, as much as possible, that many people that we can get, we should please continue to educate our people. And sincerely yours, I was just to spend about 10, 15 minutes and then get out. But Mr. Prince kept me there. God bless you. Thank you so much for what you have done. Please think less of money. People belong to district societies for these reasons, and so let them continue to benefit from it. Once again, have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kolai. As a matter of fact, at Lagelu and District Society, we have done paid sessions in the past, and right from that very first attempt, we resolved that going forward, all our sessions are going to be completely free. If it's going to be paid, we'll find a way to get a sponsor to pay for the events on behalf of every participant. So be rest assured, sir, that remark was made from the richness of the presentation. It's not to say that going forward we'll charge for a technical session. I would like to announce to everybody that if you want to keep abreast of happenings at Lagelu and District Society, kindly keep tabs on our social media pages. The link to these pages have been posted to the Q&A section of this platform. That's where we get to click on a link directly that takes us to our Facebook page, our Instagram, and our YouTube. To post them in the chat box, the link will be modded up. So please do follow us on those pages so that we can see when the next technical session is coming up. Also, finally, we couldn't hear anything from Mr. Olabisi of Fabio, but I'll be honored to read his comments. He's asking that I would like our presenter to give more details about the operational strategic review he did for his clients, which he later gave an alert for. I want to know what he did and how he did it. Over to you, sir.
Well,
I think
what I did, I've mentioned it because I don't want to discuss the details. Yeah, what I've mentioned it is a matter of just using the figures to tell stories. Of course, the stories at that time were very unpalatable, are not the kind of stories that an organization would love, but I did not just leave it. I just telling stories. I also made some recommendations, which I believe that if those recommendations are strictly adhered to, it will result into, because I discovered that the company was operating far below its potentials. So first, I highlighted the potentials, and secondly, I also gave them the operational status in terms of their strategy, in terms of their operations. You know, I did a kind of a SWOT analysis of the business, the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. So, and I told them what they can do to translate, to reduce the threats, to resolve some of their weaknesses, and also to translate the opportunities into possibilities. You know, so in a nutshell, I won't be able to tell you the details. That was exactly what I did. And the truth is that some of the issues I highlighted resonated very well with the owner of the company because he knew that they were facts. But what made it even more instructive was the fact that there are figures behind it. And there are also projections into the future if they keep to those recommendations. And gladly, I can tell you that that is what has been happening. In fact, the strategic roadmap I gave at that time, it's what we are implementing now, that has resulted into what I would call quantum leaps that we have experienced in the organization today. As at that time, we are not anywhere apart from Nigeria. Today, we are in Europe. And of course, I'm a beneficiary of that growth now. So, and that's what any accountant can do if we apply our hearts into it and also do what we need to do, making use of digital tools. And the great lesson about it is that, in fact, people who have worked with me, I'm sure quite a number of them on this platform, in fact, the chairman of the technical session, he knows what I always emphasize. When they bring a report to me, I say, Dami, yes, good figures, but please, let's look at the management letter. Let's highlight the issues, how and we're not going to be, we should be solution-minded, not just highlight some negative things, but how can we help them to solve the problem. In fact, that some of the things we recommend that it should not even be our business, but our recommendation shows a clear understanding of, our clear understanding of their business model, of exactly what they are doing, of their markets, of their systems. So, because when you write some reports, even the organization will know that you actually understand what you are talking about. You understand their business, maybe more than them. And with that, you can really prove that you are not just a figure cruncher, you are a leader in your own rights. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that clarification, son. Once again, for those who are asking for links to Lagelu's social media platforms, kindly go to the Q&A section and click on the links. And also, sir, quite a number of our participants are asking for the slides. Kindly send it to us so that we can host it online and share the link with everybody, sir. Thank you so much.
I will do that.
All right, so right about now, we're bringing this session to a close. And before that, I'd like to bring forward the Vice Chairman of the district, Mr. Adesina Araoye, for vote of thanks and closing remarks.